Today we're going to talk about functions. First, we're going to start off with an absolute cell reference, which is a little different than a relative cell reference, where we left off in the last one. To get an absolute cell reference, we're going to change the 1200 in cell B18 to cell B3, and we're going to put dollar signs in front of the B and the 3. This creates an absolute cell reference, which means that no matter where I copy this formula to, it's going to remain the same. This is different than a relative cell reference because it doesn't change, whereas if I had a relative cell reference here, it would have changed to F3 plus 500 minus 100. So again, copy it one more time. Notice it does not change. A time when you would use this is if you were calculating hourly wages for someone. So I have multiplied cell R4 with the absolute reference of cell R1. So notice on the left-hand side I have my relative cell reference that changes. On the right side, the absolute cell reference that does not change. Another cool thing about formulas is if I change the amounts in any way, the amounts in my formulas automatically recalculate for me. One other thing we have is called a mixed cell reference, and this is when you put the absolute or that dollar sign on just part of, but not all, of your absolute cell. So in this case, I have put the absolute just on the column. When I copy it row-wise, the column does not change, but the row does. Now let's talk about some other functions: average, max, min, and count. Before we do that, let's talk about the ways to enter information into your formulas. So the first way, you saw this earlier, is to click and drag with the marching ants. The second way would be to type in the cells that you want it to calculate. And the third way is if you grab these little fill handles on the edges of the box that has the marching ants, then you can move it as well. We're going to fill this auto sum across. Now we're going to do this utility subtotals again. Click the auto sum, then click and drag, and this time we only want B8 to B14. You can also just type the formula in, so equals starts all formulas, then sum, and then the cells that you want your formula to calculate. And again, fill this across. Under the auto sum, if you click the arrow, you have several options. The first one is average. We're going to take the average electricity, so we want cells B8 to M8. And notice it calculates and rounds this number for us. For max, again, we're going to do B8 through M8. It's going to find the maximum amount in the cells we tell it to look through. Minimum, just the opposite. It looks for the minimum amount. And count actually counts the number of cells that have numbers in them or information in them. So this one has 12. I'm also going to do the number of expenses that I have. Notice it only calculates the cells that have actual numbers in them. So quickly just to review, average takes the average of the cells, max finds the maximum, min finds the minimum, and count will count the number of items in the cells, or the number of cells that are filled out.